Welcome back to the channel, and in this video I've got something a little interesting for you. I'm going to be drawing this C-clamp here, and you can see that it has multiple profiles in it, so that should let you know what command that we're going to be using. And if you haven't figured it out by now, it's going to be the Loft command. And we're going to also have to, create a guide and do some other things to it. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. We're going to break it down, and then we'll jump over to Inventor. Okay, so before I get started, I'm just going to explain what's going to happen here, or what we're going to attempt to create. So you can see what I'm highlighting for you here. It's going to be the path. So I'm going to create this. I'm going to create this first. This is going to be the first sketch that I create, right? And then what I'm going to build around this is going to be profiles. So I'm going to start off by building this A profile first, which this A profile is nothing more than this view here that is created if you're looking at it from a side view. So if I'm looking at any of these views from a side view, they're going to look like nothing more than just a straight line. So you can see that each one of these have a different height, and that's kind of telling you which one is going to be which. Okay, so we're going to start off by creating the A, and then we have to create some B ones. And you should be probably getting the hang of this, or kind of seeing what I'm going to create. So we have the A's, we have the B's, then we're going to come down here and create a C, which is going to be one of them. And then we have a couple of D's that we're going to create. So we're going to create all of these different profiles. Now the kicker is that it's not as easily done using a 3D software like Inventor or SolidWorks. To really be honest with you, AutoCAD can do this a lot quicker, but you lose the ability to go ahead and edit that, right? So that's going to be the trade-off, is what you're going to get. So yes, we can knock it out in speed-wise in AutoCAD, but the level of detail that you can get when you create this in Inventor or even in SolidWorks is going to be better, because you can come back and edit it, okay? This is going to be a little bit longer video, so I will advise you to sit back and buckle up, and I'm going to try to do some shortcuts to speed it up as quickly as I can. Meaning that I'm not going to necessarily keep recreating all of these different profiles for you. So you're going to see me create one, and then I'll create the plane, and then I'll go to the other one, and then I'll try my best. If I can, I'll speed it up, and then I will show you some things that you can use to accelerate your modeling, especially when you're creating this loft, right? So let's go ahead and jump over to Inventor and get started. All right, so here in Inventor, I'm going to start off by selecting this new icon here at the top. And when the dialog box appears, this is actually going to be one that we're going to use using the inch template. So I'm going to select the English, and then I'll select the standard inches IPT, and go ahead and hit the create button. All right, we're going to give it a little bit of second to load up. And for all of you who are new to my channel, or maybe watching this for the first time, please thank you for watching this and subscribing, or just even looking at this video, or even hitting the like button if that's something that you would like to do. It really inspires me to keep doing some of this stuff. Right now, going into this one, I already know this is going to be a long one before we get started, and I hope that it's kind of self-explanatory what we're going to be creating here. The hardest part of this one is going to be definitely creating the planes, right? Creating the planes and recreating the profiles. All right, so I'm hoping that it won't be that bad for us, but you never know. Okay, so it looks like Inventor here has started up for us. I'm just going to go ahead and hit the Start 2D Sketch, and then I'm going to jump here to the XY plane. All right, so once we have this is where I'm going to start off by kind of creating my sketch here. So I'm just going to go with a sketch, and then I'm going to draw a few lines here, right? So I'm using the inch, and I can kind of see as a reference that is saying 0.6. I'm going to make it a little bit longer than that and come down this way. And I'm trying to make sure that I keep it all horizontal. And that's something that it looks like this, right? So hopefully you can kind of create something that's kind of weird shape of this way. Now, the drawing that we had this kind of sideways. I'm just kind of creating this vertically or standing straight up. Let's go ahead and put a fillet on here, and then we're going to make that fillet a radius of 0.5, right? So I'll select here. And let's see if I got enough room to select here, and I do. Okay. Now I can go ahead and use my dimension. Let's zoom in a little bit, and I should have a line in between here, so I'll select that line. I'll come out here, and when I click it, the distance of this line is going to be 5.327. Right, so I wanted to go ahead and knock out my longest line first. All right, I'm just going to grab this and pull it over this way. And then up here at the top, I'm just going to grab this and kind of bring it out that way. Okay. Next, let's go ahead and put a angular dimension on this. So I'll just go back to my dimension. Let's go ahead and put an angle one here. And this is going to be set to 100. Let's go ahead and put a dimension on this line here. Make sure you get it at the angle. So you can see when the angle dimension sign come up, I'm just going to do a left click there, and then I'll come up and click. This has a distance of 2.866. Let's go ahead and create a dimension here at the bottom. Oh, it looks like I forgot something. Let's not put on that dimension. Let's go ahead and stretch this up a little bit. Let's go ahead and put a fillet. We do have a radius set to 1.94. Let's see, looks like it didn't come up for me. There we go. 0.194. And I keep forgetting this is my AutoCAD kind of stuck in my head here. Let's go back to the fillet command. When I type it in, do not hit enter afterwards, and that's what I was doing. If you worked in AutoCAD or you're kind of switching programs, some of them do like you to hit the enter button and some of them don't. All right, let's go ahead and finish this with this dimension here. It's going to be 2.25. Okay. And now this line here is going to be a reference line. So I'm just going to select it, and then I'll just go ahead and make it construction. And then I'll go ahead and I can put a dimension on it, but I think I'm just going to kind of keep them in line with this one, right? So let's see. If I select that endpoint, and let's see if I can find another thing that I can do to it. I'm looking for the midpoint along this line here. Looks like it won't give it to me. Just totally fine. Let's do one other step then. I'll draw a line, and it should be a green dot that appears right there. I'll come out this direction. Select this line. Well, let's go to coincidence. And I'll select this line and that endpoint. All right. Let's go ahead and make that construction as well. So I'll select and do a right click on that. Now I'm going to place this endpoint here onto that endpoint, right? So that's going to be a coincidence. I have this endpoint going to the middle of the origin. Now you can see that everything on my screen now changed a different color. You can also see that it says that it is fully constrained here at the bottom. So that's exactly what I want it to be. Let's go ahead and hit finish. And now we do have our path created. Some would say path, others will call it a guide, one or the other. All right. Next, let's go ahead and start creating our profiles for our loft, right? So we're going to first go ahead and create a sketch. And we do have this plane available to us, so I'll go ahead and draw and collect that plane. Now, I do know which way this thing is oriented. If you don't, always kind of give yourself a little movement here, and I can select the orbit, and I can kind of move this up so I can see that profile, right? If I escape out of that, I can click on the top plane, and that'll take me back to the top. All right, so I'm going to create this, and I'm going to do this exact same methods for all of them. So hopefully it'll be the same for no matter which one of these we're creating. So that's why I'm going to be able to kind of cheat a little bit. So I'll go ahead and draw a line going here and send it straight down this direction. And I'll come back with another line here going this direction, right? Come to my circle command. I'm going to be somewhere along this line here, and then I'll go to that endpoint. Let's draw another circle. And as I'm creating these circles, it's kind of going to be the shape that I want to create. All right, next I'll use the equal constraint, and I'll select these to be equal to each other. They're all actually the same. This here at the top has a diameter of 0.25. This has a radius of 0.125. So Therefore, they are the same distance. If I want to go ahead and put a dimension on it, I can. So that dimension there is going to be set to 0.25. Everything should shrink down, which it did. Okay. Let's go ahead and create these lines that are going across here. And let's see, we can either use the offset or we can use the actual line command. Let's see what the offset will give us. So if I go to offset and I select this line here, I'll type in a distance of 0.125. Let's do a click there. Then I'll click this line here. And then I'll go up this direction, 0.125. Okay. So we have that created. Next, I'm going to go ahead and put another circle here. Once again, I do wish that there was a fillet command that would just do both of these. And you can see if I try to do a fillet and I type in 0.25 as my radius, I can select that line, but it won't let me select the circle here. Okay, so AutoCAD will be able to do that. Here, we're not able to do that. So I have to create a circle here and one over here. I'll go ahead and make both of them equal to each other. Then I'll go ahead and see if I can use the vertical or horizontal. And in this case, it was horizontal. I'll select that center point here. And then this center point. And then I'll go ahead and throw the tangencies on here. So tangent here to here, here to here. Same on the other side, right? So tangency from here to here and here to here. Now it's going to over constrain because they are equal, but just go ahead and hit the cancel button. That's all that is telling us. I think the last thing we need to do is go ahead and add another line here at the bottom. And then we're going to go ahead and do some more tangency, right? So let's go ahead and go a tangency between this line and here. Okay, let's go ahead and start trimming stuff off. So I'm going to trim off here. And I forgot to actually put that dimension on there, didn't I? Okay. I'll go ahead and do that right now. Go ahead and select this line here. I already know that it's going to be vertical in this case, so I'm going to select these two lines here. Let's go ahead and put that dimension on here. This has a radius dimension of 0.25. We're going to also have a distance from here to here. It's going to be 1.5. Let's go ahead and finish our trimming. Okay. And then I'll go ahead and select both of these. Remember, you have to hold down the shift button to select both of them. And I think we have everything that we need. Let's see. It's almost fully constrained. Let me kind of rotate this thing sideways because it's looking for where's this point in respect to this axis here, or this point here. All right, so I am able to move this up, but what I need to do is get this point and that point together, right? So let's see if a coincidence will work. And it seems like I can get a coincidence to that point, but I cannot get it to this line. So what we have to do for this line here is I'll select it, and then I'll project it in, and then it should give me a dot here, okay? So once it gives me that point, now I'm able to do a coincidence, go find that point, and then I can go find this point, and that should fully constrain everything, okay? So that sketch is now done. I'll go ahead and hit finish. And you can see now that we do have both of these done. I can also orbit by holding down the shift button and the middle mouse button here to kind of rotate around. All right, so that one is done. Let's go ahead and create another one, which is down here. What I'm going to do is go to plane. Let's go ahead and expand our origin here. The plane that I'm looking for will be this XZ plane. And then I'm going to go right down to this endpoint here. All right, and you can kind of look at this from the side just so you can see where it's at. All right, let's go ahead and select here and then create a new sketch on it by selecting this little green button here. Okay. All right, so what I want to do, and I'm going to kind of turn this sideways so you can hopefully see it, is that I want to project some of this down here to the bottom. So I'm just going to use the project geometry, and then I'm going to tell it that I want some of this stuff, and you can see that it is building it as I'm selecting it here along the top. So you see that it builds it there at the bottom. Okay. Next, let's go ahead and draw a line from this endpoint here. Going up this direction, I'll go across here. Then I'll go ahead and draw a line going across here. Okay. Now I'm going to rotate this back down so I can get a better look at it. And I'm looking at it this way. And if you see that the other one is on top of it, you do have a slice geometry option, which is located here at the bottom. I'll select it there, and then it kind of slices it down to here. Okay, let's see which one is the horizontal. So I'll use this one. Go ahead and select that line. It gets it horizontal. Let's go ahead and erase this. Go ahead and set an equal constraint on both of these. Let's see if we have a tangent arc here. So I'll go here. Okay. Put a dimension, and this dimension here is going to be a B1, so it's going to be 1.25. All right, so the top of this is done. This is all projected in from the top, so if the top ever changes, that will change with it. Okay, so let's go ahead and hit the finish button, and now you can actually see that we are kind of building this around, right? Let's go ahead and hide that work plane here. So I'll go ahead and select it, right click on it, and then turn the visibility off. There is a shortcut that you can use also. If I select it here and then I do a right click, I can also just type in V and it'll turn it off by the visibility on that one as well. Okay, let's go ahead and put another plane up here at the top. So I'll go back to plane. Go find the plane that I want to copy, which is going to be this XY plane, and then I'll select that endpoint here. Let's go ahead and select that plane, then select the create a sketch on it. And on this one, I will leave it sideways since it's the exact same size as the other one. So let's kind of rotate this up. Let's go ahead and use our project geometry. And then just kind of go ahead and select all around this shape here. If I go and look at the top, that shape should be there. And we can finish the sketch, and we do have that profile now. Let's go ahead and turn this one off. So I can right click on it, and then visibility should be here. Okay. So now you see that I have, two of my B1s made. Let's go ahead and make the one that's up here at the angle. Okay. So this has got to be in two parts. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'll select the plane here. Let's back out a little bit so you can actually see which plane I'm going to select. I'm going to select this plane here. And then I'm going to put it at that point. Okay. So that's the first step. Next, I have to go ahead and create an axis, right? So I'm going to use the axis option here. I'm going to go through this point. And let's see, I should have to find a plane that is nominal to it, which is going to be here. Let's turn this sideways and see that it did make a work axis, which is located here. All right, let's go ahead and hide that plane. So I'm just going to turn this one off. And now, actually, no, I need that plane on. Jumped ahead of myself there. Let's go ahead and turn that one back on. Then I can create a plane from this axis and this plane. And then we get to kind of tell it what angle that we want it at. Let's zoom back a little bit, and you can see that I can rotate this back. Down here at the bottom, it should be at 10 degrees. That's what's going to create that plane going through there. Rotate it at that angle. Let's go ahead and check that. And now I can turn off this plane here. So I'm just going to select it. And then I'll right click and turn the visibility off on that one. We can also hide our work axis here. So I'll select it here and then turn the visibility off on this one. Let's go ahead and create our sketch. So I'll select here, go ahead and create the sketch. And here we go. We're at the point to where I'm not going to bore you with this. So I will go ahead and sketch this out. And I'll kind of fast forward and zoom through this so you can kind of keep track of what I'm doing as you see that I am creating this. Okay. Okay, so this one is now created. Remember that the height on this one is once again going to be that 1.25. Let's kind of rotate this sideways. And now I have to put this onto that endpoint, right? Let's see if we can get this one. Coincidence. And sometimes it won't bring in that endpoint, and if it don't, then we'll project it in. So we can go to project geometry, and then I can select that endpoint and it'll bring it in. Now I can use the coincidence, go find that point and then that point, and it should put them both together. Okay, so we have that. Let's go ahead and finish the sketch on this one. I'll go ahead and hide that plane. And as you can see, this thing can get cluttered with different kind of sketches all around it. Okay, let's take a look at drawing our last one here at the bottom. And if it was going straight forward or up and down, I could mirror this down, but since it's at an angle and at a tilt, I do lose that function as well. So let's go to a plane here. I'm going to use the, let's see, it should be the XY plane. Go ahead and place it at this endpoint here. Let's go ahead and select this, and then we're going to create a sketch on it. And just like I did before, I'm not going to bore you with talking through it. As you've seen, that it's the exact same thing over and over again. So let's go ahead and speed this up and create this. Okay, so I think I got this one already dimensioned out. Looks like I might be missing one dimension, but I'll figure that out here in a second. All right, so I'm just going to go ahead and project in that one dot that's here. So I'll project in that point. And then let's see if we can use a coincidence. Let's go find the midpoint on that one. So select that midpoint, and it's coming to here. Looks like we might be missing a tangency or some of that nature on one of these. There we go. So just moved it into place and it found a tangency. All right, let's go ahead and finish this sketch, and then we'll go ahead and hide that plane there. All right, so now we're actually done creating all of the B ones. Let's go ahead and work on doing the C one up here at the top. So I need to put a plane there. We'll go ahead and go to our plane. We will select here, and then I need to find that point that's located up there. Let's turn it to the side and select there. Okay. Let's go ahead and start sketching this one. So I'll go here, and then I'll create a new sketch on here. This one will be facing upward, and once again, not going to bore you with the kind of dramatics that I have here. So let's go ahead and do this one. Okay, so the most important thing you got to remember on this one is that the overall height is going to be set to 1. Okay? All right, let's go ahead and rotate this around. And then go ahead and place it into position. Okay? So we need to bring in that point. So we go to project geometry, select the point here. And then we should be able to use a coincidence from that midpoint to that point. Looks like I'm missing one more dimension, and I'm trying to think about what it is. Oh, okay. I actually see it now. I didn't put a dimension on here. There we go. Let's go ahead and finish this sketch, and then we can turn this plane off. All right, we are working our way around, so you can see that we have almost all of it done. We just need to go ahead and make our D profiles, right? Okay, so this one, we can do a little bit of that cheating step that we did from before. Let's go ahead and get that plane on here. So I'll go ahead and go to plane. Let's go find the plane that I want, which is going to be this one here. Then I'll come and select this endpoint, which is located here. All right. Let's go ahead and place our sketch on here. So select, do our sketch. This one should go a little fast, so there's kind of no need to speed this one up. So I'll just go to my project geometry. I'm just going to select some of these things. All right. That should be all that we need to select. Let's go ahead and complete the rest of this one. This is a D one, so remember that the height is 0.75. So let's go ahead and draw a line from here, going down to here, and likewise here on the other side. All right. Let's go ahead and make both of those the same size. So I'll select an equal constraint and place them on it. See if we can get away with a tangent arc here. I kind of move that. All right, now I need the height on here. So a dimension from that line to the top midpoint here. This has a height of 0.75. And that's going to be all that I need to do for this one. Let's go ahead and hit the finish button. And we will hide that plane as well. So I'm going to select it, do a right click on it, and then turn the visibility off. Okay, so now we only need one more plane to go. Let's make sure that that is not showing on top of that. And we're going to also make sure, and as you've seen that I've been doing this, that all of the endpoints are indeed touching each one of those. All right, let's finally do our last one here. And it's going to be at this point, so I need to make a plane down to there. So let's go ahead and select the plane, and in this case we'll be using the XZ plane here, coming down to here. All right, let's kind of rotate this around. Let's go ahead and start my sketch on it. And once again, I don't think I want to bore you with watching me create this last one, so I will go ahead and speed it up. Okay, so now that we have this one, we just need to put it into position. And I think we will be ready to start lofting here soon. All right, so let's go ahead and project in that point that we need. So project geometry, select that point there. And then we should be able to put a coincidence on it. So let's find the midpoint here and that point. And let's see what I am missing off of this one, because it is not totally... Oh, yeah, okay. Let's go ahead and make it a tangent on here to here. There we go. Go ahead and finish the sketch. Let's go ahead and turn off that plane there. And now we have everything that we need to create this loft. So let's see how Inventor handles it. Okay, so we're going to go to the Loft command. Then it's going to ask me what sections, and then here, instead of calling it a guide, it calls it a rail. But in other ones, it'll say rail or path or any of the above. All right, so the first section that I'm going to do is I'm going to start off with my last sketch here. So that's going to be that sketch. And then let's work around to the next one, which is going to be this one. So you can see that it's kind of building that. Now I need to go find wherever this sketch is at. Now I can pick them on the screen here. So I can just go ahead and start picking them right around as opposed to looking for them inside of the browser. So whichever method that you like to use will work. Okay. All right, so you see it kind of has this kind of shape going on. And then I'll come here to rails, and that's what I'm going to use to pick my original path, and that's going to give it that stiffness that I need to create on this, right? And once I hit the OK button, you should see that it creates this loft that we were trying to look for to create, right? So real nice and simple, easy little loft that it created. And now we can go ahead and put our next parts onto this, right? So hopefully, you know, this is something that's kind of neat. But yeah, you can see how that rail is what gives it its stiffness to go around it. And this kind of gives a little free-forming shape that, you know, we couldn't create that, I guess, any other way. Well, I guess we could have, but we would have had a lot more steps to put the fillets and all that other stuff on it. Okay, I digress. Let's go ahead and create here, and I'll create a sketch on the here. Let's go ahead and kind of slice the geometry here so I can get down to this face. Let's go to project geometry, and I'll just go ahead and select it one at a time. I really need just, well, I guess I will do the whole thing. Let's go ahead and just go and tell it to select cut edges. And you're going to see everything light up. Let's do a window around all of this, and then let's turn it to construction. Let's go ahead and add a circle somewhere along here. We're going to put a tangency from here to here. We're going to make sure that we keep this in line with each other by going here from that center to there. And then I'm able to put a dimension on this, and that should be all that I need to have this defined. All right, so it's a dimension of 1. Let's go ahead and finish this sketch. Looks good to me. Extrude. It should be able to find that profile. And then let's go ahead and give it a height of 0.125. All right. So that's one of them created. Let's go ahead and slice through here at the top. So I'm just going to go ahead and throw a sketch right onto here. Let's go ahead and rotate this just up a little bit. Let's go to my project geometry. I'll select this top face. Hit the finish sketch. Zoom out, go to extrude. We're going to send it going up. We don't want a distance, we want it to go through all. And we're going to tell it to cut it. And it looks like it sent it the wrong direction, but no need. We can always flip it back going to the right direction. And you can see that it will cut off that part here. Let's go ahead and hit the OK. And it does leave those same little guides and things of that nature. Now, there's ways that we can come back and clean that up. But for right now, I'm just going to leave it exactly what it is. All right, we're going to throw a rotation here at the top of this just so I can keep everything the same going around it. So I'm going to use the, what is this, the YZ plane. Go ahead and create a sketch on that. I'll go ahead and use the slice geometry on this one, just to cut it in half. Let's see, project geometry. I want to see if I can get that top edge up here at the top, which I am able to get. Nope, won't let me have it. What about that line there? Okay. So it'll let me have that line there. I'm just going to go ahead and make it a construction line just because I don't want it included. Here at the bottom, I will project in this line as well. Okay. Should be able to draw a line now from this midpoint going straight up this direction. Select that line. Go ahead and make it a center line. Let's see. Select and make it a center line. Perfect. Okay. This line here at the bottom, I'm just going to also make it construction. Let's go ahead and create a rectangle, a 2-point one, going from here to here. I'll do a dimension on it. This is going to have a diameter of 1. We're going to give it a height of 1.125. And then we need to kind of specify where do I want this piece to be, right? So I can put a dimension from, I have an endpoint here in this line here, so I can control it from here and say, hey, let's go ahead and make it 1/8 of an inch and see what that does. Or we can bring it down. So this, the beauty of this is that we can kind of control where we want this block at. So if I want this to come down like 0.0625, I can do that and make adjustments on the fly. I think I'll leave it here. Let's go ahead and go to finish sketch. Once I hit the revolve, it should have two things satisfied. So it has the path already selected, and it has the, not the path, I'm sorry, the axis of revolution selected, and it has the profile. Let's go ahead and hit the OK button. And now you see that that part is actually created on the top. Let's kind of rotate this around. And then we're going to go ahead and put a hole on the top. So I'll go ahead and select the hole command. I'm going to tell it that it's going to be threaded. I'm going to place it on this face. I have to use a concentric reference, which will be here. Which thread that I'm going to use? So I'm using a unified screw thread. And then I need to specify the size of it. Let's go ahead and use a, let's see what sizes we have. 0.75. Alright, so there's our thread. Once I hit the OK button, it kind of gives me a bitmap of some threads on the inside of that, but it does have the threads that we wanted. Oh, I told it to go through all. That's why it's actually showing up here at the bottom. Let's go back to the thread, or the hole command. Double click on the icon, and we're going to send it down a distance here. So I'm going to send this thing down a distance of 2 is fine. Long as it goes down through here and not through all the way at the bottom like I did before. And that looks a lot better. Okay. Let's go ahead and take a look at this on an isometric. Kind of rotating this around to get it to the best view for us. Alright, so hopefully this wasn't too bad for you or too torturous, and you enjoyed making all of those planes and things of that nature. This is Inventor. SolidWorks kind of works exactly the same, and there should be a video out of me doing the exact same thing in that video. So if you want to compare them and see maybe the different styles of both of these, right? So hopefully you enjoyed watching this video. You enjoyed seeing all of these planes created and how the loft actually works on a part that's a little bit more complicated, that has, you know, different profiles, especially at different angles. So thank you for watching this video. As always, keep drafting, and I'll see you in the next video.